if we fail in our fight for justice, equality, and dignity for the Palestinian people, who are Semitic people, the indigenous people of that land, then all of humanity is finished.
Today we are joined by Deidre Lind, an Irish activist and a humanitarian advocate whose unwavering support for the Palestinian people's rights and for justice has earned her recognition among solidarity movement across Ireland and beyond. We are going to speak with Deidre about her journey in Palestinian solidarity activism, the experiences that inspired her to join the solidarity movement and raise her voice for Palestine and humanity. Welcome, Deidre.
Thank you. Welcome to you.
Deidre, I would like to start the program with you talking about your journey of solidarity with the Palestinian people and what really inspired you to join the solidarity movement and raise your voice for the rights of the Palestinian people.
So I grew up in the south of Ireland, the part that fought for liberation from the British. And then, unfortunately, my father was moved to the occupied part, his job to the occupied part of Ireland. And our life was very difficult. We suffered a lot of discrimination. And I became very politically aware at about 14, 15 years of age. Then we had the war with the British in the north of Ireland. Yeah. And I became an activist for Irish rights, for equality for the Irish people on the island of Ireland, which we hadn't had before.
Yeah, so we can say that the particular event or experience was the movement of your father to the occupied part of Ireland. That's what it transformed. That's right. Your concern. Yes.
But yes, that transformed my whole life, really, because when Bloody Sunday happened in Derry and 14 people were murdered, that changed my life. And from that moment on, I became an activist for equality and justice wherever it was. Yeah. And Palestine was so close to Irish people's hearts because it was the same playbook. Yeah. The British were doing in Palestine what they had done and were doing in Ireland.
And Deidre, since Israel started its genocidal war against the Palestinian people, particularly in Gaza, the world witnessed immense suffering, really, watching the scenes of the Palestinian children and women cut into pieces by the Israeli bombs and rockets. Tell me, how such scenes affected you personally and emotionally?
It has had a dreadful effect emotionally on everybody that I know. Doctors and nurses that I work with, some of them have had to take time out, have had to seek medication from their doctors. We are all morally affected. I would call it moral injury. We have had moral injury done to us by our governments and their lack of any interaction to stop this. They have a duty under international law to stop genocide, and they have done nothing.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you're a nurse, so
yes,
you're working with healthcare professionals, and we know the disaster that had befallen the Palestinian health sector and the Palestinian healthcare professionals as Israel deliberately and directly targeted them while doing their duty in the operation theaters and in hospitals and all that. Tell me how you interacted with such scenes of your Palestinian colleagues, really, doctors and nurses, being killed, tortured, and detained, especially the story of Hussam Abu Safiyyah, the Palestinian doctor who has been abducted for months and months.
That's right. I mean, we constantly talk about it. That you see, there are some healthcare workers that are afraid to talk about it because I have been disciplined by my hospital for organising the protest, but I have fought the disciplinary action. I will continue to fight it because it's my duty as a human being.
Yes.
And it's everybody's duty as a human being to never stop speaking about this barbaric, demonic, unbelievable, medieval. There's so many words you can use to describe what these monsters are doing to a trapped, unarmed people that are trying to work and live. It's unbelievable.
Yes, and Deidre, I saw a video for you alongside your colleagues organizing a demonstration in support of the Palestinian medics and nurses. And you were fasting at that time. So if you tell us a bit about this fasting activity.
Yes, so we were all so distraught about what could we do to try and make a difference for our healthcare worker colleagues in Gaza. So we decided, 12 or 13 of us, to start fasting for 48 hours each and to collect money and then send that money to Doctors Without Borders to help them to support our colleagues in Gaza. So we raised £16,000.
Yeah, and despite all the horror that the Palestinian healthcare professionals in Gaza have been going through for over 3 years, like, killing, torture, detention, and no medical equipment to perform operations on their patients and so on. But they're still resilient and steadfast and holding on to performing their duties in the hospitals that are almost destroyed. So as a healthcare professional, what do you learn from them?
Well, I think the world, the entire world, not just the Irish, but the entire world has learned the courage and the steadfastness and the resilience of the Palestinian people in Gaza and the West Bank is unequaled anywhere in the world. And it's the litmus test for humanity. If we fail in our fight for justice, equality, and dignity for the Palestinian people, who are Semitic people, the indigenous people of that land, then all of humanity is finished.
Yeah, and in addition to your activities with your medical colleagues, you have been involved in engaging churches and faith-based organizations on the Palestinian issue. Why did you choose the churches and the faith-based organizations? What is the importance of that?
Because the hypocrisy of the churches when it came to Russia and Ukraine. The governments tripped over themselves to take sanctions against Russia. The churches couldn't wait to come out together jointly, the Protestant and Catholic churches, to condemn in the strongest possible way Russia. And yet we heard no condemnation of Israel. So I could not stand it any longer. I organised a protest. I wrote to the head of the Catholic Church in Ireland, and I then made a video from the steps of the cathedral calling him out on his silence. And then I organised a walk through the cathedral at the end of the service with placards of a lot of the children that had been assassinated by Israel. And we held the placards up as we walked in through the cathedral. And we're a group of Protestant and Catholic Christians. We were born Christians, and we are beyond distraught, beyond, there's no words to describe how we feel, how powerless we feel. So this is why we have to do direct action like this.
Yeah. And what impact does the Israeli violence and the Israeli violation of the Palestinian Christians' rights here in occupied Palestine have on these churches? Because you must have seen the Israeli warplanes bombing the Christian churches in Gaza, and also we see how they mistreat the Palestinian Christians in Jerusalem to the point that they spit at them when they meet with them in the streets. So how this affects the church's attitude?
Well, that's the question I tried to ask the Archbishop, the head of the Catholic Church in Ireland. How can the churches stand back and look at Israel doing this to Christians in occupied Palestine, pushing them on, spitting on them, blowing up? And I really regret that this new Pope did not go to Palestine. The first thing this new Pope should have done was gone to Palestine.
Yeah. And my final question to you, Deidre, about the Irish public response to the Palestinian suffering and the Palestinian cause today, because we know the history of Ireland and its support for the oppressed peoples around the world, and in particular its support for the Palestinian people, because you know the Palestinians look at the Irish people as brothers, sisters, friends and comrades.
Yes, we say the vast majority of people in Ireland are so supportive. We feel, we say we are all Palestinians. We feel such a kinship to the people of Palestine because it's the same British playbook. Britain did in Palestine what they did in Ireland to the Irish people. So we feel we are the same family. We feel related to you. And that is why it is shocking that our government is under the control of what I call the Epstein regime. And when I say the Epstein regime, I mean all AIPAC, the Jewish lobby in England, you know, Labour Together, Friends of Israel, America that's bankrolling this Holocaust in Palestine. And it's the media, it's all these multinational, multi-billionaires that have such control. And the easiest way I can describe them is they're all the Epstein regime. And we see that playing out with the war in Iran. And we have to keep going. We have to keep fighting this regime, because if we don't, we are all finished. Everybody all over the world, ordinary people, are finished.
Deirdre, it has been great pleasure having you on our program. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching, and from you, Osama Nazal. Have a nice time.